Hello everybody, welcome to another video on the mobile arena. Today I will be reviewing or giving my first impression, general impression of the Wii U console. And this specific console that I'm reviewing is the Super Mario 3D World Deluxe set, and it has 32 GB. For some background information, I have used the original Wii, which came out in 2006, and the Wii U came out November of 2012. And the initial sales of this wasn't very good, and it was only from the recent release of one of the most popular games of all time in the Wii franchise, the Nintendo franchise, Mario Kart and Smash, that the Wii U has gotten an increase in sales in terms of consoles and in terms of games itself. And that's probably also why I've gotten this game, is for these flagship titles. Now, my initial impression of this device was mixed, but after using it for a few days, it is an overall enjoyable and positive experience. Let's just look at the physicality of the device first. You can see that I have the Wii U console, which is right here, and from here you can already see that the design language compared to the original Wii is more refined and overall more mature looking. The original Wii was on a slant and it was sort of angled. It had a very unique or maybe quirky kind of feeling, whereas this one seems more resilient and more serious and mature. And overall, we can also see still some design language from the old one, but this one looks rounder and in general more sophisticated and seems more in tune with what a console most of the time would look. I also have the option of putting it in a different direction if I want, but for the sake of myself, I enjoy putting it just flat like this. And if we look here, we have the usual buttons here, such as HDMI, we have the fan, USB, and we also have the AVI out, AC adapter, and such, the sensor bar. We can also look at the handheld console as well. We have the standard buttons here and two of the controllers as well, the power button, TV control, home, and such. And over here we just have the plug for the headphones, and this one is also to charge your device. We have the C, R, and the R and the L as well. And from my experience, this is a much better alternative, even though it might seem very large in the beginning. After I got used to it, it is a much better alternative to the nunchucks, just from the experience I have with playing so far. So my impression of both the Wii U and the handheld is positive and negative. The positive aspect is that overall I do like how these consoles look. I think it just looks better in general, and it is very, it feels very sturdy, very durable, despite it being plastic. But some negative aspects that I've come across is, firstly, both of them have a very glossy finish, and that makes it very fingerprint prone. And I in general is very clean. I already tried to clean it beforehand, but as you can see here, overall, I know my reflection is blocking it, but overall you can see that there's already some noticeable fingerprint stains and such, even though I've been very clean. And I can just imagine, since this is catered towards children, it would definitely be a lot more dirty. And you can already see there's also some marks here, even though I've tried to have it as clean as possible. Another thing is that since it is black, it also seems to gather up dust easier. I'm not sure. It might just because it's black and it causes it to be very dusty. And overall, any kind of stuff would show up more easier. See, even just by brushing it, there's some dust particles there, as you can see. Fingerprints as well, as I mentioned before. Okay, and one last thing that I want to mention, it might just be the specific console that I have, but you can see here that there's a slight deformity on the casing here, and you can see there's a little gap there. I'm not sure if it can focus, but there's a little gap here and it sort of comes out a little, and this has to do with how the Wii U is put together. And although I'm not worried that it's going to like come apart completely or anything, this is just something that I noticed. And if there are any people that are very specifically caring about the aesthetics of the device, they would be able to find this this kind of sort of difference. But other than that, I have to say the device overall looks very good, and if you keep it somewhere like a cabinet or something where it will still be in range with the controller, you definitely will not notice any of the dustiness or anything. If we're talking about cleanliness, I would be more concerned about the cleanliness of this. I'm sure that there would be casing or whatever products that you can have, but I feel like maybe if they chose to have it in another kind of finish, maybe a matte finish, who knows, it might look less prone to fingerprints. And that is my experience with it so far. It might have to do with cost and such, but overall that is my first impression of the physicality of the console. Now, moving on to the software and hardware. My experience with it overall has been very positive. Let's talk about the negative first. So because this console is so old, when I first plugged it in, I was very excited because I really wanted to play these games and such, but overall I had to wait over half an hour to 45 minutes for it to update. And for those of you who might care about that, it might seem very annoying. And for me, it took me a while. I also had to go back and forth into settings to make sure everything was done. And the general setup, such as setting up an account, setting up a Me, and such, also took a while. So that was maybe a little disadvantage. I mean, after all that, of course, now it's a lot better. I don't have to do any of that again. But just keep that in mind. If you are doing this for the first time, you probably would have to undergo those kind of general setup. And I know that is also common in other devices, so I understand that this is not really a big disadvantage, just a little one. Now, after playing it for a while, I find that there are many intuitive features on this console, and I'm only going to go over a few of them since I have not used this device extensively yet for over a long period of time. I've only used it for a few days, but from what I've done so far, I feel like it is very intuitive and very useful. Let's talk about the portability aspect of it first. So as long as this console is within range of this, you're basically allowed to play any console device on this handheld, and it just needs to be in range and you're able to do it. I think the portability aspect of the Wii U is very useful, and I know that other consoles such as Xbox One, is maybe Windows 10 is going to have that as well. You can play on Windows, and I know the PSP, the next PSP, will also be able to play some PS4 games on the device. But overall, I think the fact that this portable aspect is very useful. And the handheld console definitely takes some time to get used to. But I think in general, everything that they've chose to do, such as the screen and such, was a good choice. Alright, so what I just did was I pressed the power button here, and right as I pressed it, I'm already greeted with the quick start menu. I know it might be a bit hard to see, but this menu allows you to launch the game that you want right away. And all I had to do was turn power on, and it doesn't matter whether or not it is plugged in or not. I just turn it on once, and I can launch the game within seconds. Like 5 to 10 seconds, it will already be launching. And once I press the power button here, even though if I'm maybe a bit further away from the console, as long as I have the handheld and it is able to connect, it will turn on the Wii U as well. And so the Wii U is on right now, and all I have to do is press start, and I will be able to play the game. Another great function for the Wii U handheld console is more to do with the interface. So it has another function called the TV connectivity, and what it does is, as long as it supports your TV brand, and it supports over 100 brands, you will be able to control the volume and the channel for the TV, and it acts as a TV remote. That is also very intuitive for me. I feel like it is very useful because I don't have to reach for my TV to change the volume, and I can just do it from the Wii U. So by now you can probably tell that I love just using this handheld device. I feel like it is designed very well. It fits very good on my hand, and definitely before I have worries about whether or not it would be too big. But after using this, I feel like it is light but also feels durable, and it is very easy to use. Looking at this, we also can control the volume here as well, and choose whether or not you want it to be high or low. And the best thing about this device is that you can be able to play as long as the Wii U is plugged in. It doesn't have to be plugged into TV or anything. You can if you want to, but you can play on the TV or you can play on here. And right now, all I have is the Wii U handheld, and it is already able to run the game, which in this case is Mario Kart 8. Last but not least, I feel like it has been a good upgrade compared to the Wii. And I mean, it was 6 years ago since the Wii came out in 2006, but overall the improved amount of graphics and overall UI is very useful. And because of that, I have a overall general review and general experience, a positive experience with this device. And you can also hear that the speakers are very nice and they project very well everywhere. Allows me to use it pretty usefully. And most games also support the touchscreen here, which also works very well. Even though it might not be exactly what people want, such as they want it to be capacitive, but overall I feel like it is very responsive. Just when I was typing, such as typing my name or typing other aspects of the game, it was very useful. But anyways, that is all I have to say about the Wii U console. I just gave my first impressions and my first thoughts of how this device worked in terms of being a console. And the mobile aspect is probably the strongest aspect of this console itself. The fact that you can play an entire console game, even like Smash or anything, on the handheld, I think is pretty useful. And I know that I will be able to use this aspect for sure in the future, just because I might not always have a TV for me to play on. But as long as I have this, and I can plug this in, I can play this anywhere. Even like if I brought this somewhere else, I could just play it very easily. Anyways, thank you for watching. Please feel free to leave your comments, questions, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.